Hi everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Well, I have a lot of jobs to get done in the garden today and I thought you might like to join me. We're going to be planting up some Brodiaea bulbs today, also more Gladiolus. But first things first, I really need to get my Dahlias potted up, the ones that I'm growing from seed. Probably also my Mahogany Splendor Hibiscus. They're bursting at the seams in terms of the cells that they're in. So let's get back to the table and get those potted up to start off our day. So here are the dahlias that we started from seed together. These are the ones from Triple Wren Farm. Then I also have here my bitter melon, which probably could use to be potted up also. And then Mahogany Splendor Hibiscus. So I'll probably be bumping all these things up because it's still a little too cold to put these things out here in South Central PA. So let's just get to work. So I just like to use professional grade potting soil for this. And I'm not sure if you can see, but they've got a beautiful root system going on so far. These will probably only be inside probably 2 more weeks until it gets warm enough that I can pot them out. It's usually around Mother's Day that I plant out all of my things that really like it warm. All my warm season veggies and my warm season flowers usually go out around then, which I think is May 8th this year. So I'm just bumping these up into 4-inch pots. So for dahlias that I grow from seed, I don't really anticipate to use these for cut flowers. They, generally speaking, have a lot of pollen in the center, and so these dahlias I just like to use for garden enjoyment. And because of that, I generally won't pinch them. I'm not really worried about them putting on as many flowers as possible. These are really just for me to look at and for all the pollinators to enjoy. So I won't bother pinching these ones like I would the ones that I'm growing from tubers. So what are some of your favorite resources on growing dahlias from seed or breeding dahlias? I recently read a book by, oh my goodness, what is her name? She's so wonderful. She's the owner of Santa Cruz Dahlias, and she wrote a book called Dahlia Breeding for the Farmer Florist, I believe it's called. It's a wonderful book about dahlias and breeding dahlias specifically. Then, of course, Discovering Dahlias by Florette is wonderful. But let me know what books you like or just resources in general. And I bet you guys saw the exciting news that Florette's show, Growing Florette, was picked up for a 2nd season, and I just can't wait to see what she has in store. I am really curious to see if she's going to write another book and what the book will be about. I'm going to take a wild guess and say it's going to be about seed saving. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe I'm totally off on that. But I really hope she writes another book, and I'm so excited to just be able to get to see a little bit more behind the scenes on her television show again whenever season 2 is released. I'm actually not sure these Mahogany Splendor Hibiscus need potted up. You know, that would really be fine in itself for a little bit longer, but I'm out here with some potting soil. I might as well get them potted up. So are you guys growing Mahogany Splendor Hibiscus this year? Let me know how you're going to use it in the garden. Are you going to use it as an ornamental, or are you going to plant it in rows? I think I'm going to put about 3 in the landscape, but I'm going to try something different this year with them. I've always put them in the landscape, and the only place I grew them in a row was over at work. So what I'm going to do this year is try actually growing them in a row back by the new birdhouse that I have. I'm not sure if you can see it in the camera, but I'll take you over there before the video's over and kind of show you this. I wouldn't say it's a new area that I'm creating, but it's an area that I kind of usually let get away from myself, you know, every year. I'm going to try to be better about keeping it nice all year long. I already have some hydrangeas back there, some foxglove, and some cherry rose sunflowers. And so I'll space these out in between all those. You know, these would probably look nice in the middle of a pot too, kind of as your thriller element. Maybe I'll give that a try, because I have a confession. I definitely started way more than what I actually need. So hopefully everyone will be a lot happier now that they have a bit more space to grow. I noticed a lot of people ask me about my watering can. This is the 5-liter watering can from Dram. And this is not sponsored or anything at all. I don't have anything to do with Dram, but I absolutely love this watering can. I'll buy more and more if they ever break. However, this one is super sturdy. I love it because you can take the spigot off here and then you could water in something like a tree. Now, the way that they recommend doing it on their site is putting the rows facing toward the heaven to get kind of like a more of a gentle rain. But depending on what I want to use it for and how I want to use it, sometimes I like to point it down, but it always stays attached. And I've had so many watering cans where the detachable rows will just pop off whenever you're using it. I think you can buy these a lot of different places, but you might want to look around because it seems like the price really varies depending on where you get it from. All right, guys. That looks good. So now we can move on to some corms. So I want to plant up some Brodiaea Queen Fabiola. I have never grown this before. I've tried to read up as much as I can about this particular corm, and it seems like here in 6B, especially in a location that's very wet, it's being advised that I plant them in a container because it says they want it wet in the spring, but then they want it drier in the summer and fall, which is not what they're going to get if I put them in the ground here. But nevertheless, I want to try it both ways and see what happens. So I'm going to plant the majority here in this small pot on my table, and then I'm going to plant some over in the driveway garden. Now, the packaging said to space them 4 inches deep and 4 inches apart. However, since I'm putting these in a container, I'm going to space them closer together because I really want a full bouquet display because these flowers look amazing in the photographs. They're these beautiful blue flowers. Hopefully they're a real blue and not in actuality a garden blue, which is generally purple. But here's what the bulbs look like, pointy side up, and you can see some of the old shriveled roots there. But like I say, I don't really have any experience with this, so this will be a learning process for me also. I'll just cover this up with soil, water it in, and we'll head over to the driveway. So I'll let you guys know how those Brodiaea work out, and if you've ever grown Brodiaea, especially in a really wet climate, I would love to hear all about your experience. Also, thank you all so much for weighing in on the mystery flower in my grandma's garden that blooms at night. I read everyone's comments, and I'm pretty sure it's stemless evening primrose, which was really interesting because I have some of just that more common evening primrose in my garden with a yellow flower. That's a herbaceous perennial. And then I used to have some pink one over at our other house. So I think it is stemless evening primrose. And so I'm going to be on the hunt for a few of those. I'm also thinking maybe a nicer way to grow them rather than just in the ground, because they were so important to my grandma that I want to grow them. The foliage definitely does appear weedy to me, and I'm wondering maybe if I grow them in a pot with maybe kind of something in the center, if it'll look a little more ornamental. Anyway, I'm going to keep my eyes open for either the plant or the seed, and I'll give you guys an update when I have one. Let's take a look at this new birdhouse and the new area I'm prepping back here before we plant the remaining Brodiaea in the driveway area. I can give you a quick update too on the raised beds. So here's how the ranunculus are looking. I just hoed all the beds this morning. I have my straw flower here, Bupleurum there, along with some corn cockle, which I'm growing corn cockle for the first time. You can see the larkspur is starting to push upward. Tulips are just starting to open. And look at the bachelor's buttons. They're even budded up here. More snapdragons. Here's my anemones. I think I need to water today. Scabiosa here. And this raised bed has nothing in it because it's going to be my third succession of pro cuts, but actually a special sunflower is going in there this year. So here's the new birdhouse area. We have my neighbor's beautiful purple lilac there on the left. We have our white lilac on the right. I have 3 limelight hydrangeas in here. These are the limelight prime. And then you can see it's just kind of a mess back here, guys, so far, so sorry about that. But I have some cherry rose sunflowers all along the back to grow kind of up and disguise the fence. I also put in some foxglove here, and I'll probably pull this area out a bit and throw in probably some cosmos is what I'm thinking. But yeah, it's a nice anchor point for the backyard, I think. They almost look like crocus, don't they? So check out the apple tree. It's looking just absolutely beautiful right now. That was the only apple tree that was labeled when we moved in, and it had a label that said Cortland Pink Lady Apple Graft. So that's what I'm going with on that tree. And here in the driveway garden, I haven't not even mulched yet, to be honest with you, but I do have a few holes near the front where I think this Brodiaea will look nice. This might be helpful for some people to see if you're growing yarrow the first time from seed. Do you see all this yarrow here? Last year, if you go back and watch maybe an April garden tour, I put in this yarrow that I grew from seed, and you can see now, a year or two, it's really taken off. So I think yarrow is one of those perennials that really is worth growing from seed. Saves so much money doing that. There's a little bitty hole here, so let's just stick the Brodiaea there. Now, since these are going in the ground, I will go ahead and space them the recommended 4 inches apart. All right, got those in. So now I'm gonna move on to the Katharina Gladiolus. I had mentioned that in a video I did over the winter. I feel like Katharina is absolutely magical. I'm gonna put a picture of it up on the screen, but it's a beautiful soft pink, and it has this wonderful ruffling that almost reminds me of a ballerina skirt. So what I've already put over in the driveway garden is Andrews. That was a new gladiola for this year. And there are a lot of gladiolas in this garden already. There's Performer, and there's a lot of other ones that I can't remember. I guess we'll see what pops up. I have an open area over here already prepared for it. So they're gonna go right here next to the swing. Well, friends, I think that brings me to the end of today's video. I'll get around to some more gardening tonight, but it's such a beautiful day. I want a chance to take Grace to the park before I need to go to school for parent pickup. I want to wish you guys a great day out in your gardens. Lots more videos coming soon just because there's so much to do out here in the garden this time of year. I want to wish you a great day and happy gardening. Bye.